Michael managed to sneak me information about Mom's prayer journal. She'd been documenting her concerns for years, but filtered through religious language about saving her daughters from vanity. Each entry showed she believed our suffering would purify us, make us worthy of God's light again. Her complicity went deeper than passive acceptance. The journal entries revealed something worse. Mom thought she was helping us achieve salvation through darkness. She'd documented our deterioration as evidence of purification, believing Dad would see our transformation and finally allow light back into our lives. She'd watched us dying and taken notes, thinking documentation would convince him the process was complete. My grandmother faced an impossible choice. Believing me meant losing access to her other grandchildren. Dad made it clear that supporting my lies would result in complete family exile. She chose neutrality, offering prayers instead of testimony. Her abandonment hurt worse than strangers' disbelief. During mandatory counseling sessions, I carefully befriended the hospital social worker. Through casual conversation, I learned about Dad's community connections, his network of influence. She didn't realize she was helping me map the system working against me. Each session revealed another thread in his web. I took a desperate risk, calling Dad's doctor friend's office. Pretending to be Dad's secretary, I scheduled a follow-up appointment for genetic testing. The doctor himself got on the line, confirming he'd falsify whatever Dad needed. The receptionist recognized my voice but stayed quiet. I had my first real evidence. Screenshots discovered on the Family Cloud account showed Dad researching light sensitivity disorders months before implementing the darkness rule. He'd studied symptoms, downloaded medical papers, crafted a believable condition. The premeditation was undeniable, but accessing the account without permission made the evidence questionable. Dad's mother, the grandmother who'd abandoned him to become a model, surfaced suddenly. She petitioned the court, claiming she could provide stable environment with proper medical care for my genetic condition. Fighting her petition meant missing crucial therapy appointments. The system marked me as non-compliant with treatment. Legal fees drained Catherine's savings and the small fund raised by sympathetic community members. What incredible detective work finding those screenshots of Dad researching light disorders before even starting the abuse. The way this poor girl is piecing together evidence while fighting medication that makes her drowsy is just amazing determination. Meanwhile, Dad used the community center building fund to hire an attorney specializing in parental rights. The financial imbalance grew daily. Justice seemed available only to those who could afford it. A confrontation at the grocery store between Dad's supporters and Catherine's friends traumatized an elderly clerk. She called 911 about a family dispute, adding another incident to the official record. Dad's lawyer spun it as evidence of the chaos I'd created by refusing treatment. My stable foster placement fell apart when the family received military deployment orders. Moving during the crucial testimony period meant starting over with new foster parents. The placement had teenage sons who made uncomfortable comments about my appearance. The system considered it adequate. The new foster family seemed neutral until I spotted a community newsletter on their counter. They attended Dad's weekly parenting workshops, but hid their involvement. I was living with people who believed in his methods, who thought darkness might actually help troubled girls. Mom begged me through supervised phone calls to stop hurting Daddy and come home to heal. She cried about how I was unaliving him with this rebellion, how his heart was breaking. The supervising social worker documented her maternal concern and my refusal to reconcile. My investigation into Dad's network caused unintended casualties. Michael's teacher faced suspension for not reporting suspected abuse earlier. Her daughter asked publicly why Mommy couldn't work anymore. The teacher's husband blamed me for their financial crisis, posting criticism that Dad's supporters amplified. I continued pushing forward despite knowing Michael now faced increased scrutiny at home. Every move I made to save us resulted in immediate retaliation against him, but stopping meant condemning Emma to permanent darkness. The guilt of choosing between siblings ate at me constantly. The foster mother asked during dinner what if the darkness was actually protecting me from something worse. I couldn't immediately explain why that was wrong, how abuse disguised as protection was still abuse. My hesitation was noted in her weekly report as possible acknowledgement of Dad's good intentions. In court, I admitted once lying about completing homework to get computer time. It was a small childhood fib, but Dad's lawyer transformed it into evidence of my manipulative nature. If I'd lied then, why should anyone believe me now? The admission damaged my credibility significantly. Mom's journal revealed I'd written begging letters over the years, desperate attempts to document what was happening. She'd burned them all to prevent vanity of believing words have power. Every attempt I'd made to create evidence had been destroyed by the person who should have protected me. Dad's lawyer filed an emergency motion claiming I was deteriorating without home treatment. He used my weight loss in foster care, my continued light sensitivity, my emotional distress as evidence. The motion painted a picture of a sick child being denied necessary care by a system prioritizing ideology over health. Watching Dad cry in court revealed an awful truth. He genuinely believed he was saving us from becoming abandoned women like his mother. His tears were real, his pain authentic. He saw my escape as his failure to protect me from the world's corruption. The sincerity of his delusion made him more dangerous, not less. I faced an impossible